It's fall, and that means it's time to top our tomatoes. I'm gonna show you how to do it, why you should do it, and when you should do it. Let's go. These tomatoes here are looking absolutely beautiful. They're an indeterminate, and as you can see, they are just growing beautifully. They're producing more flowers, lots more growth. They look incredible, but it's time for us to top them. Now, topping your tomatoes might seem kind of counterproductive or counterintuitive, but it's very important that you do so because these indeterminate tomatoes here they're gonna continue to grow regardless of whether or not you have a frost a month from now, a week from now, or even a day from now. They're gonna continue to grow. That's the nature of an indeterminate. And because of that, they don't know when the season is going to end until it ends. You as a gardener know when your season should be roughly ending. That's your average first frost date. And it's mid-September for us. We're looking at an average first frost date of around October 15th, October 20th or so. Usually that second, third week of October, we have threats of frost. And that means that there is just no way for us to get these flowers into a ripe tomato. Even under the best circumstances, it's just not gonna happen. And so it makes no sense whatsoever to keep those flowers on. The additional leaves is just more growth. And what we want to do is we want to focus energy on ripening the fruits that are already forming. That's the main objective behind topping our tomatoes. Lots of gardeners out there will say, yeah, but the more foliage you have, the faster the plant can grow. Somewhat true, but at this stage, we want to focus all that remaining energy on focusing on fruit development and fruit formation to get them to ripen as fast as possible because of the time we have left in the season. And so we're going to come in here, really simple, and we're going to top them. Now, where do we top them? Just above the last successfully set fruit. Here's the main stem going up. Here's some tomatoes that have formed. We're gonna go just above that. The reason why we go just above that and not a stem is because if we trimmed it like that, what we've done is we've essentially created a point here where this tomato is going to want to form a sucker. We want to terminate that completely to prevent any additional growth from forming here. It's gonna send all that energy up, it's gonna send them right to these tomatoes, and it's gonna be terminated and ready to go. Here's another example. We have the main stem, we have the truss of fruit, we have this stem here. We wanna go just below that stem, just like that. It's really, really simple. Up here, right, we have the main stem growing up, we have the flowers and fruit just below that first stem. One more example in real time here. We're just gonna come through. It's really simple. We have our main stem growing up. We have our flowers. We have the stem. And we're removing all that because we're essentially sending a signal to ripen the fruit. We wanna ripen that fruit that's already forming. It makes no sense to hold on to all those tomatoes that won't have any chance of really ripening. You're gonna end up with little itty bitty tomatoes by the time it's the first frost. So that is essentially how you top and why you top. But I also want to talk about when you should be topping. Now, I know you're probably looking at me thinking, okay, he said to top my tomatoes before the first frost, but how soon before the first frost? It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked. That's a very important thing to assess because if you prune your plants too early, you could have potentially just reduced your overall yields. You just essentially completely stopped the chances of ever getting a tomato because you pruned it. Or if you prune it too late, you're gonna end up with hard as a rock tomatoes that'll never ripen up, and you're gonna be throwing them into a paper bag with a banana peel at the end of the season, hoping, crossing your fingers, knocking on wood, that they ripen, and a lot of times they won't because they're hard as a rock. And so getting that timing right is so important. How do we get the timing right? It's based on the tomatoes you're growing. So this tomato right here is Aroma tomato. It will ripen tomatoes within about, give or take about 20 to 40 days. Bit of a wide range, but 20 to 40 days is what you're looking at from the moment the flower drops off to the point in which you start to get a ripe tomato is about 20 to 40 days. And so I want to start topping this tomato in that 20 to 40 day range because I'm focusing on all the tomatoes that have already formed. We're not trying to focus on new production. We're trying to focus on the production that was already on this plant in the works. And so if you're growing a beefsteak is gonna be a whole lot more time. We're talking like 40 to maybe even 60 days to get that tomato to form and then ripen. And so if you are growing a beefsteak, you're gonna be topping your tomatoes a whole lot sooner than you would if it was a cherry tomato, which is like 20 to 30 days. Your cherry tomatoes, they're smaller, they're faster to ripen. You can keep your plant untopped, unpruned a whole lot longer because those tomatoes just form and ripen so fast. So don't necessarily go by a specific date. I see a lot of gardeners just blanket statement throwing out there, time to top your tomatoes, or I'm topping my tomatoes. And I look at all of them and I'm like, you just topped all of them at the same time. Why would you? I mean, you can, but it's kind of like you're really setting yourself short. You're ending the season prematurely on some, and then you're just, you're maybe too late on others. It's just, you're kind of gambling, right? And it's like, why gamble? It's so quick, it's so simple to do, and the results can be immense. The last thing I'll say is I will be on the record as saying that I did not think topping my tomatoes was important. For the first probably 5 years of me being a gardener, I didn't think it was necessary. I saw gardeners topping their plants and I thought, nah, that's just one of those unnecessary things that people do in their garden that we call busy work. That's just busy work in the garden. It can't possibly make that big of a difference. Let me be the first to say that I was wrong. I was wrong. I mean, I've said I've been wrong about this for many, many years. We top our tomatoes almost every year, and it's just something that I have grown accustomed to doing, because for the first 5 years of me being a gardener, I would look at gardeners topping their plants, or I'd look at just gardeners pulling their plants out of the ground at the end of the season. And there might be 1, 2, 3 or 4 tomatoes, green tomatoes still on the plant. And I compared that to me, and I was like, I'm pulling out a plant that has 20, 30, 40 green tomatoes. What am I doing wrong? Like, I thought that was just a normal thing. And then I started realizing, I started putting those dots together. I started connecting those dots. I said, oh my gosh, no, that's making a big difference. And so as soon as I started doing that, I still pull off a few green tomatoes every year. I still throw those into a paper bag with a banana peel, hoping that they ripen up, and they might taste like a greenhouse ripened supermarket tomato, but it's one that I grew and I don't have to buy, but I'm getting a whole lot more. I would say in the big scope of things, out of a plant like this, I'm getting probably 75% more fruit to ripen up and finish ripening on the plant than I would have had I not topped. It's a big difference. And so, like I said, I'm a living example of someone that doubted the claim, put it to work in my own garden, and the results speak for themselves. So I would highly recommend topping your tomatoes. It's definitely smart to do. But like I said, it's super easy to do as well. Let me know in the comments box down below if you top your tomatoes, the results you've seen, some tips and tricks to those that might be interested in topping their tomatoes. And I'm gonna get back to topping my tomatoes. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. And also, please do subscribe, because we got a lot more gardening content coming out. Just because the season is getting colder and winding down doesn't mean our content is winding down. So we'll catch you all on the next episode. And as always, grow bigger. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting migardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care.